Hey everyone, hope you're doing well today. In this video, I'm sharing with you all about my experience traveling to the Dominican Republic. I just got back from Punta Cana and I had the most amazing time. I took a solo travel and I was just unpacking. So I was like, you know what, let me share with you what I purchased. I went to a local souvenir shop that was like not too far from the resort. It was about 3 blocks down, but I definitely took a ride down there because the sun was hot. The resort I stayed at was the Serenade Beach and Spa Resort in Punta Cana, and this was a lovely hotel. The atmosphere was very nice and welcoming, and this was the family side. They also have all suites, which is the adult side, but there's like a gate and a walkway path that you can kind of go back and forth. Well, the people that stayed on the adult side can come over to the family side, but the family side couldn't go over to the adult side. I stayed on the family side and I was fine, but originally I wanted to stay on the adult side because I was just like, well, if there's too many families, too many kids, too many loud voices and things of that nature, I was more so looking for that relaxed and calmness. But honestly, it's February, so it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as crowded. The resort was very much like entertaining. They had a lot of different activities and things to go on throughout the day. But if you didn't want to be around the crowds and be around too much people, they definitely had 2 different pools, and towards the back of the resort it was a little bit more quieter and people kind of settled down. And I stayed for 5 nights, so that was like Valentine's Day weekend, and maybe people was out on their honeymoons or on birthdays, anniversaries, things like that. But little old me was just going to celebrate life and take a break and just love on myself. So that's what I did. So let me share with you some of the things that I purchased. So I have a bag here and everything is kind of secured and wrapped up like this. So I have my scissors. I'm just gonna break away some of this tape while I talk with you. So the one thing that I would say is if you're gonna take a solo travel, that you should I'm trying to open this is a jewelry box that I got, and it's made out of bamboo wood, and I really like the design. Top like this, you open it, it has a circle. It's very spacious inside. And I like to buy things like this from the souvenir shops in the markets and just in the local area because I know that the local natives. And now what I would say is when you go into these souvenir shops, just look around and kind of like browse and don't feel forced to buy anything because everyone's just trying to hustle and make a dollar and just show you the latest things. But if it's not something that you honestly like and you were looking to purchase, and you just don't want it, don't feel forced, because there are some people that can be very pushy. This place that I went to, the gentleman, he was actually nice, but once I kept asking prices and different things, I picked up some things and he was like, oh, if you get all of this, I give you a deal, I give you a discount and all of that. So, and I kind of knew some of like the Spanish language. Like I have a Puerto Rican background, my mom speaks fluent Spanish. She didn't teach us when I was growing up. Womp womp. But I do understand to an extent, right? I can understand and I can speak a little bit from like life and death situations, directions. I know the money and the just like the basics of things. So once I started kind of communicating that, or well, honestly, when they were talking about me and they were trying to negotiate among themselves, and I listened to what they said and then I responded, they were like shocked because they didn't probably think that I was gonna hear what they were saying or even interpret it, right? I got one of those jewelry boxes because I like to get the wooden.
The wooden one?
I got some of those yesterday. Like these, because they do it out of like bamboo. So once I started speaking my little Spanglish is what I called it, people started to become more friendlier at the shops, and they was more inviting, and they kind of like worked with you. And I realized that wherever you go, any type of country, if there is a native language, if you try to attempt to talk to them just a little bit, they will be a little bit more open and like welcoming, because you're kind of making the attempt to try. And I think that's a sign of respect. I really like to look at the artwork when I go on vacation. I never really been too big on doing that, but ever since I went to Mexico a couple years ago, and a gentleman had like spray painted and did the whole art in front of me. He did one of like the Mayan ruins, and it was so beautiful. So I kind of got hooked on just looking at the locals, their artwork, and the artists. Things that I got. It's an elephant. I thought it was so pretty. This picture kind of reminded me of just the women all over the world, different cultures that sit together, make homemade meals in the kitchen, having conversation, and just having fruit prepared or vegetables. And I don't know, I thought it was very nice. It just says PC for Punta Cana, beach time, no problem. I thought it was a nice red shirt just to have something to throw on. So this is a magnet, just the birds. Apparently in DR, the parrots are a thing, because they're all over the beach walking around trying to take pictures with people. And I heard some people were saying like $20, I think they were trying to do photos for a picture with the parrot. I got this magnet as well. And then I got one of the ladies that's very popular, like the Dominican dolls that they make with no faces. And the history behind that is they make them with no face because in Dominican Republic there are so many different walks of women. This is so cute. And they figure to not kind of single out anybody, to everyone's created equal. There was no huge differences. So I thought that the background about the famous Dominican dolls that are sold like all over, even here in New York, they have some shops. You go to the Hispanic restaurants and different things. They have the ornaments and stuff that everyone's always talking about over there. The Larimar stone. So I have these earrings. Looks like that. It's very cute. And then here's a necklace. It looks pretty. It goes like that. But this ring I got from the resort, and this is actually silver. I believe this isn't gold. It's just like accessory and kind of like gold filler. They painted over it probably. Or was this one? Looks like this. This frame, and it says Punta Cana. I figured to get a frame, I'm going to print one of my best photos that I enjoyed taking, and I'm going to frame it. Not everyone is capable of traveling. Not everyone is capable of doing it by themselves. And for me to have the courage and continue to grow and build and vlog and create the life that I want is very humbling for me. I'm very grateful. I have so much gratitude. This hot sauce, this was the only one that I saw. So it's a hot and spicy seasoning, hot and spicy pepper sauce. And I thought this was so cute. It comes with a nice spoon, and I fell in love with bachata music. Now, I used to do my little two-step to salsa here and there. On the resort, they teach you how to dance. You do salsa, you do bachata, you do it right on the pool side or on the other side. In the evening, they have live music and they're dancing and everyone's grooving. And there was no judgment. There was no shame. Everyone was having a good time, laughing, smiling, interacting. And so this was the tourists interacting with each other, but also the staff. So like the entertainment staff, they were friendly, they were approachable, they were very knowledgeable, they help you, and everyone just had a very good time. So I'm very blessed to be able to afford such a trip. I can't wait to go back. Now I would like to share with you some of the things that I did before I traveled. I did my research. I read a few articles online. I looked into the money currency. I looked into the different resorts. And what I wanted to do was find a resort that had entertainment, had a relaxing beach area where I could just walk out and go to the beach, had some options for me to eat because I am vegan, so I wanted to make sure that there was some selections for me to have. But what really stole my heart is the fact that they had fresh juices, and You know me, you know that I love a good green juice on the daily. So I had a green juice, I had a smoothie, they had watermelon, they had papaya, they had passion fruit, they had a banana strawberry smoothie. They had these things in the morning time. I do wish that it was like throughout the day. So like if you wanted something for like a late lunch, you still could have had it, but it was just at the buffet for breakfast. Now granted, it wasn't a huge selection compared to the resort that I stayed at in Mexico, but I was able to kind of pick and choose what I wanted from the buffet and from some of the restaurants. They were accommodating. I wanted a spa area because I definitely wanted to get a massage. When I go away for my solo trips, I like to call it a wellness or well-being trip because I like to go to the spa. I like to have massages. I did 2 different massages at the Serene Spa, and I wanted to just see what their ritual massage was about. So the one that I actually bought was Serene Massage, and that was 80 minutes for $190. And I thought that was a reasonable price because here in New York, the massages are usually anywhere from like $200 and above. I sat on the table like this, and she kind of worked in her hands on my arms, all of it, my neck, my back, my shoulders. And they give you kind of like a bralette that's disposable, and you kind of like put that on to cover like your chest, and then you have like an underwear to cover the bottom, and you just sit up, and she massaged the sides, the thighs, in between the legs, the foot, all the things. And it felt a little uncomfortable because it was my first time, but I'm not new to body scrubs because I use it like in my own shower. I have a lot of like scrubs and things that I like to use on, not every day, but every other day, because massaging and exfoliating the skin is very important. So for me, I wanted to just get the experience of the luxury of somebody else doing it. And then she had like this kind of like plastic wrap on the table after she wrapped my arm with it, and just I was like this tight like a cocoon, and I laid down maybe about 20 minutes with it as she was like massaging my shoulders, my head. She moved my head to the side, to this side, to the back. I got into the sauna. The sauna was like hot. It was a good temperature. It wasn't as hot as how I like it and what I'm used to, but it was durable enough so that way you can sweat and you can feel good. And then they had maybe 3 or 4 different showers that she walks you through. The one that was like insane was like the bucket. You get under it, you have to pull the bucket, and a whole bunch of cold water just pours on you, and I was not prepared for that. I got into the hot tub, and they have like a hydrotherapy kind of pool, and they have like the bubbles coming up. You lay down and you have the pressure in your back. You had like something spouting at you. But what I do wish that in the future, that way if you want to just do the water circuit, you don't have to be led by somebody, because it did feel a little bit like pressure. Like if I wanted to stay in the cold plunge a little bit longer, they're like looking at you. So I don't know if I was just being timed or I had to move. It didn't really feel like you can stay somewhere a little bit longer. It was kind of like do this, do this, do this, do this, and I would do it all over again. If you are going to Serenade Punta Cana Resort, I advise you to check out the spa because you won't be disappointed. They definitely have like an area where you can get your hair done, you can do a manicure, a pedicure, all the things, and you don't even have to get a massage to enjoy the water circuit. So you can just go and go to the sauna, go to the hot tub. Then they also had like a step up kind of Zumba class. That I couldn't keep up with because your girl done had a margarita by then. The sun was hot. I was drenched in sweat and I was a little sleepy, so I was going like dun 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 dun. I think I got like a little bit of the footage, but baby, after that dun dun dun, and I was spinning, and he was like, go this way, go that way. I was like, yeah, I gotta go. So, but it was a good time. So Punta Cana is definitely an up and coming city, and a lot of people are going there. Is gaining more attraction. Serenade Beach and Spa Resort is phenomenal. They're actually building another resort right next to it. So everywhere is up and coming. They're growing. They're getting luxury experiences, and they're welcoming a lot of tourists from all over the world. And I think it's quite affordable. I believe that they got 5 stars on most of their reviews, and I had a really great time. I actually left the resort and went down to the Punta Cana area, the downtown by like Ocobango, El Patio, the Congo Bar, where they have all the nightlife, and like the Affinity Bar. I went to Drink Point, and honestly, that wasn't even in my plan, but I had such a good time, and I was speaking to the locals and just speaking to people, and people were telling me about it. So I'm like, you know what? It's about 10 minutes away. Why not experience it? And I was like, I had such a great time. I met so much people from different places. I met a young lady. She lived in Delaware. She had some experience living in New York. She was from Africa. We were sitting next to each other at the Japanese restaurant, and then we just sparked up conversation. Next thing you know, we were talking all night about all the woman things: love, life, relationships, finances, travel, friendships, all the things. And I felt like we kind of inspired each other, and there was no judgment. We were free. We could be ourselves. And I'm kind of bummed because I didn't get her contact. Like, we had such a great night and a good time, and by the time we kind of parted, it was probably like 1, 2 in the morning, and we just forgot. And then she left the next day. So if you're out there and you see this video, girl, send me a message. You know who you are, because I should have kept in touch with you. We just didn't do it. But she was awesome, and she lives in Delaware. And then I also met a gentleman from Canada, and we had conversations about all the things, and he kind of inspired me to continue on my journey and to finding my purpose, to being a builder, to being a businesswoman. And he spoke to me in such a way that you would have thought he knew me, but he didn't. So when I look at things like that and the people that I come across when they say things, I kind of take it as a sign from God that maybe that I was put here at this time, at this very moment, to hear something from someone. So that experience with him was very great. And then I also met some people at the resort, and I had conversations with them about like their goals and their aspirations and the things that they do to work. Some of them are working 12 hours, 16-hour shifts, because that's just the way it is. Like, they're making ends meet, and they're hustling and they're grinding, and sometimes they live 5 hours, 3 hours away. But the good thing is that sometimes when you work for the hotels and the resorts, they have a space for the workers that can stay overnight, so their commute is not as bad. But my conversations were so rich and so intriguing and so fulfilling. Like, we laughed, we inspired each other, we spoke of like so many experiences, and all those people that I spoke to, whether it was poolside, on the beach, it was at the bar, at the entertainment section, inside the souvenir shops, during the buffet, eating. I spoke to so many different people, and I think that's the beauty of solo travel. You get to meet so many different people, because people are intrigued to see you by yourself. They want to know more. They want to like pick your brain and just want to know why you did it, or they want to gain the courage from you, right? So don't ever feel afraid to just get up and go. Even if you go to a coffee shop to have some tea by yourself, start to go places in your own city, and then you can venture out. If you don't want to go to a country right away, go to a different state. Like, that's another thing that I like to do. I like to go to different states, or just to go to different restaurants, and I visit my family a lot, but I like to just take in that moment for myself. So I hope that I encourage you to take a leap of faith, take some time for yourself, and just do what it is that you always wanted to do, because if you don't, somebody else will. And then you'll just be looking at them on the sidelines like, man, I wish that I could do that. You know what? They look like they're having fun over there. And then you'll start comparing yourself. So don't do that. Don't compare yourself. Just see what it is that you like. Find the courage, find the confidence, and always do your research, read reviews. But honestly, a review can't really tell you how you're gonna feel with that experience. So don't ever let all the reviews just kind of pile up and make you feel like it's gonna be great, because your experience may not be great. Or don't let the reviews be negative and make you feel like, oh no, this is gonna be all bad. You just gotta kind of have some discernment and just go on the whim and make sure that you feel comfortable, because the only way you're going to learn and grow as a traveler is by doing the hard things. And the hard things is just booking the ticket and going. If you have any questions or comments, or if you need some help booking a trip for yourself, shoot me a message down below or find me on social media. I'll link that here. One of my goals is to find a community of women so I can host wellness retreats or host like events and bring people together who needs that extra boost of confidence and that extra security, kind of like a safety net to kind of like travel with. I would love to like create that someday. So if that's something that you're interested in, send me a message because we can start now. So that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed this vlog and stay tuned for more. Make sure you subscribe because I don't want you to miss any future videos that I upload. From my space to yours, I hope you have a great day, a great evening, wherever you are in the world. And make sure that you always try your best to stay true to you, be you, and don't ever conform to what anybody else wants you to be. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.